Alright, welcome back to get another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. This YouTube channel is dedicated to advancing your tactical skills, teaching you new things perhaps, helping you refine some other skills so that you can dominate your world in Bannerlord. This is continuing a long campaign that I had into the Southern Empire to really lay waste to the Southern Empire. It was very successful. We ended up destroying 4 cities. You can't physically destroy them from the map, but we hammered them pretty good, only to come back to our own kingdom to learn that the Aserai were sieging, the Vlandias were sieging. We were pretty much being attacked on all sides. So we had to kind of rush back and immediately relieve this siege of 3,500 Assyrian forces. Fortunately, this time we have more troops, although it's a bit misleading because of the militia and the weak garrison that was there. Nevertheless, the key to this battle will be limiting losses. We know we're going to win this battle. Looking way off into the distance there, I can see the enemy is 2 bridges away. So we're not going to be able to race to that closest bridge. I think my plan will be to set up this area here and let's do a kill box here. We're going to introduce a little bit of a new tactic today. This is essentially concentrating fire. We're going to have our archers up on this hill here, the 4th and 5th Corps, and we're going to concentrate fire on a trapped enemy in there. My plan is to use the 2nd Cavalry on the far right flank and basically let the enemy into that area near the rock at the center of the screen there, where I'll have nice tasty bait for the enemy to attack. Then the idea is once a large portion of the enemy is in there, to slam the door shut by bringing the 2nd Cavalry around in behind them, sort of locking the whole place, so that nobody moves. Rush hour traffic. Only this is rush hour traffic with my entire archer corps is just raining death across this river. Right? So this takes a lot of finesse. This takes some timing as well. It's not a certainty that it's successful, but in this battle I'm really trying to limit losses because I have at least 2 or 3 more big battles after this. The enemy's all over my frontier. This is one of those situations where trying to fight 7 other kingdoms, it's made incredibly important that I limit my losses here, right? So here I'm going to drag the 3rd Corps and form them into a shield wall. What they are doing there is essentially preventing a lot of the enemy from pouring around the side there. Of course, Aserai with their horse javelin throwers, horse archers, can be a major problem if they get into your areas you're trying to protect. Then we're going to use the 8th Corps here. That's my elite unit, with a couple small infantry units as sort of the bait. I've got the 2nd Cavalry posted way over there to the right flank, and you can see this little rock outcropping gives us a little bit of cover, a little bit of protection, and a physical barrier. Look at these guys. These guys must be brave. Well, there's an old war saying that there's no such thing as old brave warriors. They're all dead. You're either brave and you're young, or you die. In this case, they learned the lesson the hard way. So the idea, anyways, is to get this enemy to attack. They're starting to stream across the bridge, and of course they have a huge amount of Aserai Ferris. These are some of their really tough horse cavalry. They have really strong javelin skills, but nevertheless, we're going to try to bottle them up and then open fire. Additionally, it will give us the option to retreat towards the bridge, and any enemies that are chasing us will just face a murderous fire from those archers across the river. So the enemy's starting to pour in here, precisely as we'd hoped. The 8th Corps is up there in a defensive stance. In fact, let's put them in a square just to limit losses, right? Our 8th Corps is our most important corps. They're not actually fighting here yet. I just want the enemy coming in to attack us. Right? I want the enemy to look at this as like a situation where they can easily come in and kill us and commit to battle. And it looks like that's what's happening. So we've opened up fire, right? We're going to start to weaken them as they come in. Here comes a huge infantry block. Time to bring the 2nd Cavalry in right behind them. The timing on this is very, very difficult. Right? Trying to get my cavalry now to barrel in here, and you can see what's happening. Arrows are just raining everywhere. Now I can send my units, the 8th, 6th, and 1st Corps, to all attack. And all of these units are now completely stuck in this kill box, hence the name. Right? Arrows are raining down, guys are getting shot off their horses. You can see from the death span that it's mostly the enemy getting mowed down here. And look at all the arrows just pouring in, right? Any guy that's on a horse is shot off his horse. The infantry that are on the ground are having to deal with both our infantry and arrows, pouring over the river. This has been quite successful for now. You can see out there there's a whole archer corps. That's going to be a little bit more of a challenge because they're holding back at range. Right? That's a good strategy by them. Yeah, their cavalry is tough, man. You see it blocking over and over and over again. Still, the death spam is almost entirely green. There's an occasional, every 6th or 7th death, there's one of ours. That's a very acceptable rate. That's exactly the kind of rate of success we're looking for here. The 3rd Corps is doing their job over here, kind of holding these horse archers in. Right, the whole idea of a kill box is once the guys are in there, the enemy's in there. There's a noble lord right there. They cannot get out. Right, they are killed. You can see him being all bottled up there. This is quite a massacre. Now, I don't want those archers to run out of arrows, right? I'm going to need them for this long fight, so at some point here we'll be holding fire. I've still got to deal with this archer corps that's across this field. Now, sometimes you're going to kill your own people if you're throwing a lot of javelins. We'll give her a fiefdom after the battle if she survives. Alright, time to clean up some of this infantry. There's still quite a bit coming in. Again, though, they're just being rained on arrows. And to take advantage of that, turn their backs to the archers. You see how I'm moving away so that they're getting shot in the other direction? Right, their shield only faces one direction. This way they're getting nailed with arrows as well as, your own attack, right? Your own allied attack. Repositioning my 8th square again. You can see the arrows just raining down on the enemy there. Repositioning my forces here. I don't want to go off out there and fight them unless I have to. I want the enemy to come to me. I've got this kill box set up. I've got infantry. I've got cavalry wings defending the sides and the flanks. The easier I can bring the enemy to me, the more likely I am to have success. I'm losing some nobles here. I guess I'll take her shield if she's going to drop. There's another wave of the infantry. Look at the death just raining on them. Arrows are just absolutely mowing them down as they come in. But time to make an attack here. We'll bring our 8th Corps up, right? And these savages are more than capable of taking down some infantry, especially with that kind of archer support. Yeah, but it's a lot, though. It always seems like the Aserai have all elite troops. In my current campaign anyways, they're by far my most difficult opponent. And this is 3,500 of them. This is no walk in the park, no matter what. Even when we use tactics, we're going to end up losing some points. Their archers are actually doing really good damage at range, and right now this is the one disadvantage of it. My archers are a little bit out of range of their archers, so I'm continuing to pull my forces back. I want them back on this knoll. If I can bring those archers forward, they're going to have a better chance of being shot. You can see all the arrows are still raining over, but my archers are still ready to kill. Just got to have targets close enough. I hate walking around the rest of the battle with this giant javelin just sticking out of my back. Should be able to reach behind you and grab it and use it. Maybe that's a mod down there. Alright, we're going to use our cavalry here as a little bit of a shield wall. And I think we're going to at least skirmish at the edge here with these archers. You can see this guy, he snuck out of the weeds. Little lull in the fighting here. Again, those Aserai Master Archers, they are nasty units, right? They are definitely doing damage. They're almost the only force that's registering kills. Let's make a push, right? So I'm going to move my 2nd Cavalry and infantry lines up into it, followed by the 8th Corps. The only problem is there's a bunch of infantry. We're going to have to make this a quick assault and then a retreat. There's a bunch of infantry leaning into this. My timing is bad here. I make mistakes, folks. I should have gone a little earlier because the archers are very soon going to have infantry support. Right now it's all green death spam. Look at their infantry roaring up, and those are the highest level. Right? Those are palace guards. Those are very tough units. We are going to have to make this a very quick sortie and then pull back. But here was the other benefit of this strategy, right? I can now pull back All I have to do is send my troops across the river. They'll start heading for the bridge, right? Most of my 8th Corps is going to make it out. And I'm going to sacrifice this infantry corps. Sometimes in a big battle like this, you have to intentionally feed the enemy some food so that it leaves your banquet alone, right? We're going to send that last group of a handful of guys in while we make a break here for the river. This is nasty, though. The enemy has managed to get archers around the flank. I thought they would all get shot by our archers on the other side, but it looks like they've been able to move up and pretty effectively attack. We're gonna have to deal with this because this is blocking our retreat path here. Sometimes plans don't go exactly as you intended. Fortunately, I have this nice batch of infantry reinforcements. We're gonna put these archers to bed. And they go. We'll definitely support them. Our troops are still retreating. Here's the beautiful part. Look at all the following enemies here, right? I don't want to open fire yet. I want to maximize the value of these arrows. But these guys, you know, they're not aware of it, but those archers that I have across the river still have some death yet to deal with them. Let's open fire here and watch this fucking stream of death come down on them. Their backs are faced to my archers, and here come the arrows. Right? This is how you deal major damage to the enemy. Look at that shit raining in there. You know, we can supplement riding our horse here with a relatively low danger. When you're on a horse and there's archers all over like this, you gotta keep moving. Look at their archers are getting shot now. They're trying to shoot back, but this is, you know, 250 archers raining death on them. This battle's gone back and forth. Like, first the enemy was trapped, then we got into a tough position, now the enemy's trapped again. Infantry are sandwiching on this side and charging them. Meanwhile, they're being absolutely ripped apart by our archers at range. Let's finish this fucking force off. Now, eventually we're going to retreat across this bridge. It's just too perfect right here. It's a perfect spot for us to regather our troops. But for the short term, let's go ahead and clear out all this riffraff. These fucking scum Aserai thought they could fucking push in on us. Alright, another reinforcement batch is coming in. A battle this large, you always have to continually reform your troops. You're going to be facing 4, 5, 6, 7 waves even of enemies, right? Typically, fights are 500 troops a side maximum, right? So you're looking at, to take out a force of 3,500, you're talking 6, 7 waves. Infantry! Again, the entire reason I'm doing some of these elaborate tactics here is to minimize our losses. Right? We're in a very difficult campaign. If you don't know, just a 30-second background. Just to make the game harder, I've decided I'm going to fight all of the kingdoms all the time except for Sturgia. Sturgia was sort of my home kingdom. That's where my character came from, right? I guess technically he's a Sturgeon. And so we're going to be sort of at peacefully neutral with the Sturgeons, and then everybody else we're going to basically fight to the death. What that makes for is essentially constant fighting, right? Because I'm being attacked by 7 different kingdoms, and right now most of the kingdoms are bigger than my own. So our force is coming across the river. Enemies kind of in pursuit here. The Assyrian forces, out of all the different kingdoms you'll end up fighting, you might find are the most aggressive. They charge forward, and it's good strategy, right? When you have really powerful javelin-throwing horse archers, and they're nasty infantry, right? Those two-handed axe guys are just absolutely devastating on the battlefield. It's appropriate tactics for you to play very aggressively, right? You want to be charging your opponent. Now, of course, they shouldn't be coming in 3 at a time like this, right? Those guys are, you know, those guys are footnotes in the death rolls of history. But when their main block comes in, it's nasty. And speaking of a main block, like we have our 1st Infantry here, and we're just going to collapse them on all the guys coming off the bridge, right? You've seen this in other videos I've made. When the enemy comes into a constricted area like this, what you want to do is you want to keep them in that constricted area. Don't let them start spreading out across the bridge, right? Surround them, and it's just a spam, a complete wave of green death. And when I say green death, of course, I'm referring to the upper right corner, where it's just almost every death is, you know, one of the allies getting mowed down. Right? They're being overwhelmed by infantry here. Their attack is sort of piecemeal. Meanwhile, they're still being shot from the flanks. Right? I have my archers on that right flank, still raining death, and the results are, as you can see. Now you don't want to overextend across the bridge. I've mentioned this in other battles, but I'm going to as well here. What you don't want to do is you don't want to be in the opposite position. We don't want to have most of our forces on that bridge right at the exit to the other side of the bridge, because what will happen is your troops will be the one being surrounded. Right? When you come off that bridge, if you think about it, the area right outside that bridge, whoever's on that side can put more troops. Right? The people on the bridge can only walk, what is it, like 8, 9, 10 abreast, right, next to each other. Well, if you're outside the bridge, if you're just at the opening to the bridge, you can have like 40 or 50 guys right next to each other. That means you're fighting like 40 or 50 on 10, right? That's how you mangle the enemy. So in this case, I'm letting the enemy purposefully advance. I pulled my infantry back, the battalion fiend champs are out of arrows, bringing them up, and we're all just going to launch into a combined attack. Any enemies, again, that come off the bridge now have to deal with this huge onslaught that they're facing. Look at all those battalion fiend champs. In an army this large, between the 8 or 9 or 10 nobles that I rallied together to get this huge army, I bet there's 300 battalion fiend champions, right? I store a lot of these units when I can in castles, where I end up starting gaining momentum in the campaign. I'll put 6 in this castle and 8 in that city and 10 in that one for moments just like this, right? Where I need in a huge battle to have massive firepower and a huge amount of elite units. This is where you consolidate all your extra forces and bring them in. Doing a little bridge charge here. Sometimes you can fly almost all the way over all these troops and get through the bridge. In this case, we're slightly vulnerable here. We've got to push our way through. The enemy doesn't have a bunch of troops here, so it is our chance to get across and spread out. But those are perilous moments. You want to get through there in a hurry. Now, once you're through, I don't know if you caught it, the very first thing I did is I started spreading out our flanks. Right? You want your allies to spread out, kind of in like the reverse of diamond shape. You want this inverted C facing the enemy, so that eventually, when you have hand-to-hand, like we're going to have here in a short second, your forces are essentially converging, closing up that C towards the middle, and you're attacking the enemy on their flanks. You want to have as wide of a C as you can manage with your troops. Alright, in this case, you can see they're spread far to the right side. It's time to close this C. Alright, guys are charging forward, and now what's happening with the enemy here is their lines are being overrun on the edges. Right, and what happens with the AI when the edges start to be run over is the guys start to collapse inward. In those cases, you have 2, 3, 4 troops attacking one, and it's a very bad result for the enemy. Right, you see the enemy's getting some kills. They got a nice little line of archers here that we're going to charm up to. Sometimes I will charge archers and just back away. And all that does is it buys you time. They're chasing me, they stop shooting. Right? Anytime an archer is not shooting, it's negative for that unit. Right? Archers are much better at shooting, of course, than they are at swinging whatever melee weapon they have. The exception being the battalion fiend champion, right there. Two-handed swords are pretty damn good. But most other archers are greatly weakened if you can just get them to stop shooting. Right? Sometimes that just means putting a bunch of cavalry or other troops right in their face. There's a number of different ways that you can really isolate and prevent enemy archers from really dealing with serious damage. These lightly armored Aserai Ferris are just, their horses have like paper armor. And you have a two-handed weapon or a nasty glaive, just carve right through it. Now you see how wide I'm trying to make the infantry line here against their approaching next wave. I want this wave to be twice or 3 times the width of the enemy. And again, the reason we're doing that is so that when we collapse the sides on that huge force that's coming, they're going to be effectively closed in in this ring of death. Right? We're going to have troops on both flanks. They're all bottled up there, kind of in the center. When the enemy wants to make mistakes, don't interrupt them. Let them. We're spreading into a nice C here. Sometimes battle is all about the pre-battle movements, right? And now we're moving forces forward. They've got a big archery block there. We want to limit how much they can do damage, right? So there's shield wall in the center. I'm sending archers on the flanks. The flanks are less vulnerable, right? The archers generally shoot things that are right in front of them, so they're shooting at that huge infantry wall. Now I'm moving up troops hard on the left flank, and then we're going to collapse it. Right? You move them physically, and then F1, F3, and in they go, right? And that flank is closed. You can see now the enemy's being attacked on this side, their right flank, and that main wall. Right? You can now see these guys are being collapsed on all different sides. It's a very bad result for the enemy. And that's why the screen is green. Another big line of enemy cavalry here. But again, at this stage, we're just systematically working our way through this huge force. I still have half my health left. I've been playing more general than warrior in this battle. Sometimes that changes when I start to get the urge to kill more, or I'm presented with the right opportunity. Like these cavalry are just custom made to order for my giant two-handed axe. Just mow these guys down. And when they hit me with their charge damage, it's doing like 1 or 2 points of damage, so really no effect. It knocks me around, but there's no actual negative cost to my health. Their latest batch of reinforcements. Again, the other major tactical advantage we have at this stage is our forces are higher level. They've still got high level troops, but we have most of our top troops still. We've lost maybe 500 in this fight. They've lost 2,000. Right? So you've got a lot more Tier 3, Tier 4 troops amongst them. Much easier to kill with the elite troops. I still see Tier 5 troops in there. They have the palace guards running around. But we definitely at this stage have the edge in troop strength. So that wave wiped out. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a flanking maneuver on this bridge. We're going to be charging this bridge once we kill this next wave. And with the main line of infantry, we'll be charging, and then archers on that right flank. Come the archers spreading around on that right flank, and some of these are reinforcements too, so they'll have lots of arrows. Oftentimes it's better with cavalry just to wipe out their horse than the guy's helpless on the ground, right? He gets thrown onto the ground, or you can just massacre the guy. Sometimes it's easier just dropping his horse. With an axe, of course, you're taking out 2 horses sometimes. I've even seen 3. A little easier battle when these fucking losers are on the ground. Now, the only benefit the enemy cavalry is doing here is they're slowing us from making a big push across the bridge. I can see their reinforcements starting to build up on their edge of the bridge. I don't think we're going to be able to make it across the bridge in time. I'd like to gain the initiative and then spread out over there and keep on taking this to the enemy, but they've got a pretty big block there. Let's see if we can push through. I've got higher level troops. I think we're going to try to force our way through this massive infantry. You got higher level troops and you're 8 abreast each. Oops, trying to get caught in the bridge. If you get caught in the bridge, you're dead for sure. So our guys are jammed up there now. So what I can do on the right flank here is spread that archer flank even wider. That way they can at least pound them with arrows. Right? These guys are moving slow. They need a rock star or something. Let's go. Yeah, well, kind of like I was worried. The enemy has enough troops there to sort of prevent us from pouring through the bridge. So they're getting some kills. They have some archers making some kills, but you can see the murderous archer fire coming in there from the right flank. Right? We're definitely going to win this tactical stand here. But I've also managed to pull myself out of this battle. I have no javelins. We're going to do another horse flying mission here. We If you can get the right amount of inertia, you can just fly over 3/4 of your troops. Let's see what we can do here. Gain a little speed and leap over this shit. Oh yeah, there we go. Now I'm spurring my horse, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to force my way through this infantry, right? It makes it repeatedly charged. Guys are getting charge damage. Infantry's being hammered with arrows. And they're starting to reform slash waver. It's possible that this force of Aserai has finally had enough. We'll see. It's been an assault here. Now that we're across and the enemy looks like there's wavering, in these situations what you want to do is you want to finish them off, right? Like the finisher Mike Tyson. You want to come in and just start throwing uppercuts, right? You almost want to be a little reckless here. The enemy's running, you're not really threatened, and their morale is wavering. When the enemy's morale is wavering, encourage it, right? Go in murderously. We got reinforcements popping up right in front of us. Let's just cut right into them. I see lots of weak cavalry. I see a screen full of green death. Right, the enemy's terrified. They're being ran over. This battle is over. Yeah, you see the archers, the cavalry when they're on the ground, they're fleeing. They're definitely fleeing. You'll get a feel for enemy movements the more you play. Well, and that's it, folks. Like a huge battle with the Aserai. You know, could have been a slugfest. We could have lost 2,500 troops. I bet we lost less than 1,500 though. Right? And that's critical. That's 1,000 more troops I'll have for the next battle. We lost 1,000 total. Well, they're doing more of this little magical reinforcement thing. This is not the greatest part of the game, right? This is, even though we get to kill all their horses, this is basically you know, a bug, I guess is what most people would consider this, right? They're just popping up reinforcements. Meanwhile, my troops are cheering, right? This is kind of suboptimal. So we're going to leave it at that. We're going to have a little scrimmage here at the end of this real game. The battle's over, and we met our decisive objective. The objective here, I might get killed during this battle. The objective here was to kill as many of the troops as possible without suffering huge losses ourselves. Right? And of course, the ultimate objective was to win, but in this case, it was to win with the decisive victory. As I kill a few more troops here. Thanks again for watching, folks. Please subscribe, ask questions if you want. This campaign is nearing, you know, a critical mass. Right? We're reaching a pretty critical point. So I promise you there'll be more big battles, right? The enemy is relentless. They're just non-stop coming on, and I'm not giving them peace. So more battles and more carnage for sure to come, and hopefully I can continue to show you unusual tactics like this episode, right? You can now start enacting a kill box in your own game, right? Be creative. That's what it's all about. All right. Well, again, thanks for watching. See you next time.